But Enzo,
I mean,
I was
hopefully
behind
Enzo
him.
has his shit in check a little bit more than he did his first run.
Oh, you gotta hope somebody's the way he talks, and of course they're they got their own gimmick and they got a persona they have to try to put out there. But the way he still talks, he sounds like he's the same stupid cocky fucker that is not mature enough to be in an actual business.
Yeah. But he's so much money on the mic.
He is. That's a sad thing. And Cass kind of looks good, but he's mediocre in the ring, and he's less than mediocre on the mic. You don't need Cass.
No.
I think Enzo would be good to bring in as a manager that could get physical and get thrown into matches on the few occasions that they need to beat him up,
Yeah.
I'd be more happy with
as long as
that.
he doesn't bounce his head off the ropes. Fuck, let's not do that again.
That was scary.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that happen to anybody. That was scary.
Oof. Either way, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of excited one way or another, if they go anywhere.
This is kind of like the Pac story, too, where we have two completely different stories from two different parties, and it could all be bullshit.
Dude, Enzo and Cass versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I mean, come on.
It would fit. Literally, I mean, they could fit in each other's clothes, I think.
And Enzo could ride down on Cass's shoulders.
Right?
It'd be good.
I want to see it. I want to see that. How you doing? They could just fucking chicken fight Enzo.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
An
In a
actual
pool.
chicken fight. Yeah, just Enzo and Jungle Boy chicken fighting. Oh, fuck. Oh, Pasty, time to move on to the worst part of the show. And on a show that we've talked about Enzo and Cass, that's saying a lot. It's time for the injury report. Sad but true, we got a few things to talk about. Some extremely sad. In fact, the very last story is... I don't even know if I'll be able to get through it. You're going to have to read it, Pasty.
Okay.
But before then, first I want to say that Ring of Honor has announced that Mark Briscoe has suffered an unfortunate knee injury.
No.
Yes, the injury occurred during a ROH live event from this past week, and this injury forced Dem Boy, not boys, to pull out of the CMLL Grand Prix tournament. He is one of 4 ROH stars scheduled to participate in the competition. The 11-time Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion will undergo an MRI exam to determine how severe the injury is in the coming days.
Speedy recovery, man. Ring of Honor needs you.
God, the Briscoes they're synonymous with ROH.
Yes.
One of the few that are still there that are synonymous with ROH.
I'm sure they've put up with a lot of shit.
I'm sure, especially since they're chicken farmers, they got to shovel all that shit.
God, I hope he gets back up and on soon enough. Ring of Honor doesn't have much to go on these days.
No, but that kind of has me excited because every time Ring of Honor's been really low, they fucking pop back up. So I'm excited to see
they've always got the stars of tomorrow.
Yeah, with WWE and AEW getting so big, if Ring of Honor gets this next fucking surge, this is going to be awesome. Awesome!
Yes. Also, during a tag match that pitted Villain Enterprises PCO and Brody King against Lifeblood's Mark Haskins and Tracy Williams, PCO had a malfunction that caused him to deliver a suicide dive on the opposite side of where his intended targets were.
I haven't gone back and watched this, but I gotta see what the fuck happened.
I spent all week wondering why he was our new Facebook picture. I get it now. He landed face first on the floor and came up dazed and bleeding profusely, much like we've seen via Goldberg, I would assume.
Right.
PCO ended up getting a nasty cut above his eye that required 17 stitches to close up. The injury occurred less than 2 minutes into the match, like Goldberg, but PCO refused medical attention and continued on to the end.
Like Goldberg.
Hopefully had a better match than Goldberg.
I gotta go back and find this and see what... I don't mean to laugh at anybody's injuries, But what the fuck happened that you jumped out the wrong fucking side of the ring? What the fuck? And this is a veteran, you know what I mean? What the fuck happened?
You probably shouldn't be laughing because there could be something seriously wrong, like Vampiro.
Oh, man. And yeah, for those of you who may have noticed or may not have noticed, the Beefsticks Facebook page has PCO while he's getting stitched up in the middle of getting stitched up. Looking like he should be in the next Terminator movie. Yeah, there's a video of him getting stitched up, which is pretty graphic. If you're not into that, don't look at it. If you are, do it. But yeah. That new Terminator movie seems like it's going to be good shit.
Is it like alternate timeline where she had a daughter? Is that what I'm getting from the trailer?
What it is this is the third Terminator movie. There was Terminator 1, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. None of the other movies ever happened, and now this is the third one. They didn't
happen because the last movie reset the timeline.
Well, they didn't happen because they sucked. It's the same thing as Halloween when they.
But even still, there's no John Connor, and there's a younger girl now. So did she have a daughter instead of a son, and that's what the time shift is?
I don't know. This is a new movie that has James Cameron in it.
T-1000's back though in some kind of a way.
This has James Cameron in it, and this has what's her name? The original Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor, that's her name.
Okay, sure. But anyways, it has them, and James Cameron has said this, like, he wasn't involved in the other ones, and those movies didn't happen. So if there was a time... Well, I think there's a time reset at the end of every Terminator, obviously, right? I mean, that's just what Terminator
when they save it and change,
So, but those movies, even with the time reset, never happened. This takes place right after Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Which is good, because that was where it was actually decent.
That was the last good Terminator movie. But
I like
this is James Cameron's trilogy,
then. T-1000, or T, whatever, the liquid metal robot.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be the
My
T-2000.
whole body is a weapon, and then he hugs the cop and kills him.
The T-500, no, the T-800 was Arnold, and then the T-2000 was old Metalhead.
I thought it was it a T-2000? T-1000. T-1000 sounds right. Maybe it was
T-1000. T-1000 sounds like a double of T-500. Right.
And then I think the female Terminator was like a T-3000 or some stupid... Who knows?
Oh, nobody needs that.
Yeah, the young girl in this one says she's not a Terminator. She's a human, just augmented. So they're like blending together. Why are we talking about Terminator? This is a wrestling podcast.
And that's you? Sorry, I was doing something. So anyways, on to some even sadder news than fucking PCO.
This episode's going to be called All Off. And I'm not editing it hardly at all.
It's all off, baby. On Tuesday, wrestling legend Antonio Inoki announced the passing of his wife, Tezuko Tada. Our deepest condolences. We are all off, baby. Our deepest condolences to the New Japan Pro Wrestling and WWE Hall of Famer and his family. It's a sad time for him. And Antonio Inoki, he is, if there's a list of the top 50 pro wrestlers of all time anywhere, he's got to be in your top 20, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue top 10 easily, but everybody's got their own shit. And if you're talking about all time everywhere, there's millions, but... He's one of the biggest names in pro wrestling of all time. The fact that he created New Japan Pro Wrestling, the fact that he had the most watched pro wrestling match with, well, no, not the most watched, but the match between him and Muhammad Ali in one of the first MMA matches of all time. And just so on and so on. So, sad to hear the passing of his wife. We're glad that Antonio's still kicking, literally. And but there was a much more devastating loss recently in a pro wrestling family.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella have lost their little one. That's right, their French bulldog Josie.
Oh my god.
The cute, cuddly canine was heavily featured on both Total Divas and Total Bellas, and possibly even their podcast. We would like to send positive vibes to Bree and Brian as they continue to try and deal with this heartbreaking loss. And Pasty White has to point his fingers at one man, and that man is John Cena. And God, I hate that I know this, but John Cena hated that dog.
You gotta be shitting
me.
me.
May have seen some Total Bellas, yeah. Yep.
Why does he hate the dog?
It was annoying, and it pooped, and then he went...
Well, all dogs poop. Every living thing poops, even plants.
He tried
they
to
just
kick
poop
it,
in a
and it
different
tried
way.
to bite him, and then he's like, "Get the dog out of my house." That was the whole shit that Miz and Maurice made fun of him for in WWE when he was doing his whole like, "This is my house. You're staying in my house. You got to follow my rules. We eat in suits at this time, and then smoke cigars while the women go and wax their pubic hair."
They gotta wax it. They gotta wax it.
Yeah, no, I watched some of it, and I hate that I know that John Cena killed their dog.
He's an asshole. Yep. Maybe if they could have seen him, they could have prevented it.
Hey, and if you're not able to watch AEW All Out this weekend, be sure to tune in to NXT TakeOver UK, which will be featuring an appearance from the Swiss Superman Cesaro, which leads me to believe that Cesaro's going back to NXT and they're merging the two together to make one super show.
So is this a pay-per-view or is this just a special event?
It's NXT
you know what it
TakeOver UK. So it's
Oh, it is a takeover? Okay, it's a Cardiff. Mm-hmm. NXT TakeOver UK Cardiff.
Yes.
So, whatever. I mean, I'm really happy for them. I just can't watch every single pro wrestling event in the world.
That's where I
can't watch every single pro wrestling event in the world, and I gotta draw the line somewhere, and I draw the line across the Atlantic Ocean.
Like I said, I seriously believe that with NXT going to USA and making it 2 hours, I think they're going to merge NXT UK and NXT together. Pete Dunne's been on NXT. Rhea Ripley's been on NXT. They're trying to get the main titles over there. I think it just makes sense. And then you bring Cesaro to UK.
They're definitely going to have to bring in some of the UK guys to make appearances, if nothing else, for sure. Yeah. Who knows? But folks, that's the show. We're really excited for All Out, whether you're going to watch it tonight or you've already watched it and you're interested in what we said. We'd like to know what you thought of the show. But before we go, I do just want to say Arnold Schwarzenegger was the T-800 and the Liquid Metal was the T-1000.
All right. I feel really bad that we have to confirm that. Like, 12-year-old me is really mad right now.
It's the same here, but you know how long it's been since I've watched it?
I'll watch the next one. I don't expect it to be good, but I'll watch it.
I'm going to watch it also.
Well, from us to you and your families, we hope if you're listening to this over the holiday weekend, you're enjoying the last weekend of the summer. And if you're listening to it after the fact, we hope your weekend was a solid one. Now let's all go back to work and school. And we'll see you next week, only on Beef Sticks Podcast.